Hi, in this video, we are going to see about an important area in IT industry. In IT industry, application support and maintenance is a very important area. In fact, if you count the number of people working in the IT industry, a sizable percentage of people are working in application support and maintenance. So they are providing the support and maintenance for an existing application so that it is fit for purpose for the business. We have seen the entire IT systems. The whole system must be fit for purpose for the business. So for that, the application support and maintenance, that team is taking care. ASM we call it. Jobs in application support and maintenance. So let us begin with how the whole information technology system, IT system looks like. The word IT system, we have seen the structure starting from network, hardware, operating system, and so on. So all these things are called infrastructure. We have already seen that the infrastructure layer is at the bottom and application is sitting on top of it. In the information structure, you look at the picture, the bottommost layer, the infrastructure layer consists of, I'm reading from the right, network at the bottommost layer, hardware, operating system, and software tools. So all these things are called infrastructure. We have already seen about each of these layers in detail. Now, when we look at application, we have seen that applications are developed. We have a team called application development team. We have a team called application testing team. We have a team called application enhancement team. We have seen all these things. Now, let us have a close look at the architecture of an application. This is called application architecture. See, when we are developing an application, we build the core application and then we do something called customization and then configuration. It is something like selling ready-made structure for putting up a tent. So there is a tent structure, Even in building a house, what do? We first build the core structure of the house. The core structure of the house will contain the basement and then all the rooms, walls, roof, and everything will be completed. Now begins the customization. Some people may want to slightly customize the existing house that you are giving. They may want an additional facility here and there. That is called customization. Let us look at the example of a banking software. Infosys has a banking software called Finacle. So the Finacle core application will be first developed. So the core application will be delivered to a customer if they want them as it is. But when people want to use Infosys Finacle has been developed for a generic bank. But in my bank, in the bank for which I am using Finacle, there may be a few special type of reports may be required. They may be defining some 15 important reports. But I will have to change those things and create some 10 additional reports because that is the requirement for my business. So core application is bought and then these customizations are developed. Similarly, in the core application, the loan sanctioning process may be something. In my bank, that may be slightly different. So I will customize it. So applications are bought, the code is bought, and then the customization code is also done. Then afterwards, there is something called configuration. For example, in the core application, the core application, they might have had a variable called number of branches, which is a variable for which value has not been assigned. Similarly, maximum cash limit for savings bank account, you can change it accordingly. So, as per the details given in the core banking application, I will have to specify how many branches are there in my bank. In my bank, if there are 155 branches, then after getting the core banking application, I will have to specify in a particular folder that number of branches equal to 155. SB limit equal to some 50,000. So in a similar manner, certain variables must be given some specific values. That is called configuration. Normally, in applications, there may be some hundreds of configuration variables to be defined. So in a particular folder, a flat file may be there in which all these configuration folders. So when the system is brought up, it will read all the values and starts working accordingly. So core application, customization, changes in the process or changes in the certain things, and then configuration is about giving specific values for some variables. Then there are two types of data. There are two types of databases. One is called the reference data. For example, if my company has 155 branches, for each of the branch there is an address. For each of the branch there is a name for the branch. Koramangala branch, Navalur branch, Annanagar branch. For each branch there is an address. For each branch there is a branch manager. So these data are standard data. So there is a database in which some standard business data is available, which will not change quite often, They are called reference data. See, whereas there is a transaction data. If there are 12 million customers in the bank, all the 12 million customer details must be stored. That is not a reference data, that is a transaction data. On a particular day, if somebody is depositing 100,000 rupees in his account, that deposit is a transaction. That data must be available in the transaction data, because day-to-day transactions are stored in a large database. That is a business transaction data. Now, business users will be using this application. So, what is the structure of the application? There is a code which has the core application. There are some code, some programs which are the customization. Then configuration data is available in the form of some flat file or some variable names, and then reference data and business transaction data. Now, when the business users are using, they may be stuck somewhere. Then we will have to check whether the problem is because of the customization part. So the code customization for reports and approval process, is there a problem faced by the customer is in the customization, due to the customization, or the configuration. Configuration says number of branches equal to 124. Whereas if the business user is thinking about something else, it may be a problem. Similarly, there are reference data and business transaction data. So reference data are modified rarely, whereas business transaction data are the transactions which happen day in, day out. For example, what are the examples of reference data? Employee data, who are all the managers and so on. Details of the branch offices, addresses, name of the branch, and there may be some specific functions also. The company policy, tax formula, legal regulations. So these type of things are called the reference data, because they will not change every day. Will you change every day the tax formula? No. Only when government changes the tax formula, you will have to change. So that is why these are called the reference data. for doing the business, we refer these formula, these policies, these names and so on. Whereas business transaction data is a day-to-day customer data, deposit data, cash remittances, the loan details and so on.